This video is all about the Doc Martens 1460s, and we actually did a vlog about this boot when we initially started our channel in 2018. I feel like we should almost just freestyle it at this point. What do you think? This is my pair of Doc Martens 1460s. I wear them winter, summer, spring, and fall, and everything in between. They match with everything in my wardrobe. They cost pennies on the dollar. They last forever, but for some reason, the internet hates these shoes. In this video, we're gonna try to figure out why. Alright, so what is going on, YouTube world? We are KRT LYFE, KRT LYFE with a Y. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that. And yeah, it's been a while, but we are both back in this video, and we are using our library voice because our baby is upstairs asleep.
So, this is our new reality, you guys.
Yes, so bear with us. But in this video, we're trying to figure out why the internet hates the Doc Marten 1460 so much. And we have a whole bunch of notes, but I think we're gonna just say screw the notes and just freestyle this video.
We have so many thoughts on those boots, so it's just kind of hard.
And we can't figure out what people hate them. So bear with us. All right, this right here is my pair of 1460s. Got it back in the day, probably about 8-ish years ago, as far as the earliest pictures I can find of myself wearing this boot. Got it for full retail price at this place called Journeys. I guess they're all over the United States, but I'm not 100% sure. They were really stiff out the box. Took a while to break in. I really didn't start really wearing these shoes a lot until I tripped to New York. That's when I really broke them in. I was wearing them about 10 miles a day during that trip. Yeah. And that's when I really started to love these shoes. And since then, these shoes are like my default go-to shoes for almost anything. I wear them probably, what, 4 or 5 times a week?
Yeah, I feel like I see these shoes on your feet a lot more often than anything else. And trust me, he's got some shoes.
Everything, all seasons, I wear this boot. Can't figure out why the internet hates them so much, though. And you also have a bunch of Doc Martens that you love as well.
I have 3 pairs. My journey started with these. These are Shoreditch greased leather, and the reason why I got them because Reza had a man's version, and they were so easy to put on, and they're not waterproof, but they're water resistant. They're super soft. I got these used 7 years ago. I wore these a lot. You can't really tell that much. I mean, you can see a little bit of wear and tear. I still love these. Every time we go to the farm, I take these if I don't want to bring like a proper hiking boots. They just great for errands, anything like this. Absolutely love these. Then I have my own version of 1460s. Yeah, so this is vegan leather. I got these probably 4 years ago maybe. Never had to break these in. Wow. That was my thing. They are stiff, but these shoes, so are the previous ones, when I put them on my feet, I could just walk 8 hours, no problem. And I never had any issues with these. And I wear these a lot. A lot.
How's the durability been on those?
I can't complain. First of all, even if I'm in the rain, nothing happens to them. The soles, you see a little bit of wear on them, but not that much. The comfort, I mean, the shoelaces, everything, like, I absolutely love these. I think these are my favorite pair of boots that I own.
How'd that scratch happen?
So that scratch happened on the first day I put them on to leave the house. I opened the fridge, and we had a sharp piece on the fridge.
Yeah, that razor piece on the fridge. It messed up a lot of shoes, actually,
and
in that house.
I was so mad because I'm one of those people that I want my... Reza likes like patina on his shoes. I don't like the patina on my shoes.
Mine have patina.
I like them like they just brand new out of the box. So... And I was worried kind of about this, but I mean, it's been years. Nothing happened to it. It's still the same. I kind of polished it, but absolutely love these. And then my 3rd pair, I think I got these only last year, right? So these are the newer version. These are platforms. So these are heavy. I already scuffed these somehow, but it's a different, these are Sinclair's milled Napa leather. So these require breaking it.
Yeah.
I did put these on last year when we walked around for Halloween for our kids trick-or-treating, and yeah, I wanted to cry by the end of the trip.
But those are heavy.
Yes, they are heavy for sure, and I needed, I think, different socks or something. I don't know, but I still need to break these in. These are the toughest ones, but I still absolutely love Doc Martens for durability, for the price, because I feel like they're that mid-tier. They're not cheap, but they're not expensive. I think they wear well. I think they're great for any weather conditions. You pretty much would put them through, and I haven't had any issues with the, soles falling off, cracking, nothing. I don't know what people hate about them and what's going on the internet. I know you do more, but...
So to put it into context, these right here I've had for at least 7, 8-ish, probably possibly longer than that, years now. As much wear and tear as I put in this shoe, as much as I've worn it, I have had literally 0 problems with this shoe. And I see a lot of comments from like other reviewers and stuff that Doc Martens are trash and this is so much better. They talk about, oh, well, it doesn't have a, what is that thing called? I forget the name of it. It doesn't have a...
you just said it last year. I can say it in Russian, I just don't know.
Say it in Russian then.
The supinator.
Yeah, so it doesn't have a supinata in it, so this part right here is very flexible, which I feel like it doesn't really need because some of my favorite shoes don't have that, are very flexible and bendy.
I've been experienced issues with not having that piece in my shoes, to be honest with you. I think for me personally, they support my foot really nicely.
It's called a shank. That's what it's called.
Yes.
But yeah, so we don't understand it. And I even did research to figure out, okay, what is up with all the, the faulty Doc Martens. And I found a Facebook group that actually shows like a lot of faulty Doc Martens. In finding that Facebook group, I have a lot of theories about why people hate Doc Martens. So let's go ahead and refer to the notes real quick. So why do people hate Doc Martens? Because on paper, you would think they check all the boxes that people want. They're durable, they're easily accessible, they go with all of your outfit, all your clothes, depending on what your style is, and they go the mile. So why do people hate them? Here are some of the reasons that I came up with why I think people hate Doc Martens. Number one is because they're not made in England anymore for the most part. And this is partially a political issue. And I think that it's because, Doc Martens went through a period where they were going to go into bankruptcy. And they had to do some restructuring in the company. And I think they started outsourcing a lot of the manufacturing. And because of that, there was not as much quality control. And I think that, caused people to be like, oh, okay, well, they're not as good as they used to be. And then the price is still the same. What's up with that? And I can kind of get that. Like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. I just haven't experienced the older versions because I feel like I'm recently start wearing them. So it would be interesting to see the difference. Right.
So it's political. And I feel like, with those political issues, I feel like you should take those issues up with your government more so than with the company. But that gets really,
Anybody who runs the business know that you have to make decisions, and some people won't be happy with it.
Yeah. So another reason that we think people hate Doc Martens is because they're too popular. I mean, you see them everywhere, and you have been seeing them everywhere for the last, I don't know what,
forever,
40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And I think that popularity, when something saturates a market too much, I feel like people just automatically come up with reasons to hate on it.
To hate it.
Like when we were saying the other day, nobody's checking on you until you're winning.
Yeah, and once you start winning, everybody's going to criticize every
gonna
single decision.
Everybody's going to be like, oh, well, why did you do this? Blah, blah, blah. But people, if you ain't, like they say, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. Now, style preference. This is where it gets kind of very, very vague because depending on your style, the Doc Martens might be a good shoe for you. I wear all black. I wear typically skinny or fitted trousers, so it looks good for me. But if you have that more classic Americana look, you might not want a black boot with yellow laces in it. Those people typically like stuff like Blundstones, which the shoes that I showed you the other day, the Chelsea boots that just slide on, which for the life of me, I
guess you would look for more classier shoe versus, I feel like it's a classic, but it's not that type of classic, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to put it, let's say, with a suit or something.
Right. Or like with those Blundstones, people wear that with jeans and like brown leather and sweaters and stuff like that. Stuff that's more like your classic American look, I guess, so to speak. Does that make sense? I guess it makes sense.
Definitely classic American look.
But while I'm on style preference real quick, I've read and I've seen a lot of people say that they find Doc Martens to be feminine looking.
I'm just not going to comment on that. I think you saw my face.
And then these same people like these other boots by companies like Nicks and Whites, these like logger boots that really look feminine because they have super high heels and then they have a curved heel on the back. And I'm going to show you some images of those.
I'm sorry. There's nothing feminine about this. I can tell you that. Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, everybody have different definition. Let's start there first.
And then I feel like it's a bit of like, what do you call it when people just repeat what other people say?
Yeah, they just jump on the same wavelength.
Jumping on the bandwagon.
You know, yeah,
like, I feel like one person one day decided, oh, you know what, Doc Martens suck. And I feel like all these other people just started going with it with literally no evidence. Now, I did find a little bit of evidence on the, like I said, the Doc Martens Facebook group and stuff like that. But for the most part, Doc Martens, when you go on any website, have extremely good reviews. I mean, mine have been going almost 10 years. Hers have been going almost 10 years. Like,
oh, they probably will last forever.
So I really don't understand like where it comes from. So
I think it's a good way to put it though, where people jump on the same bandwagon. A lot of people don't have their own opinions, or they are afraid to voice it.
Yeah.
So when somebody voiced something for them, they're like, oh, you know what? Let me just go ahead and relate to you, and then. But,
even if they don't have any evidence.
Yeah, even if they don't have any particular opinion. And then I feel like there's also other brands that have good shoes, and of course, there's a fangirls of those particular shoe brands. So if you die hard, let's say, for example, a diehard Nike fan, you're probably going to hate on Adidas in some kind of way or fashion. So I feel like
whether it's warranted or not.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Just because, and you're going to find like very small nitpicking things that it won't even matter in the all. And a lot of them never even wore them, and they'll have an opinion. That's a whole other ball game.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
And poor quality control, that's one thing we kind of touched on. Like, yeah, I think that when they, diversified the manufacturing and they weren't manufacturing in England anymore wholly, I could see where, quality control could slip, because you have these different markets making different shoes for other markets. So like, for instance, I know like the shoes that come to the United States are made in one part of the world, shoes that are going to Europe are made in another part of the world. So you see how that can get
just
convoluted.
Like all other products.
And that happens with every brand.
Yeah, I was going to say every product on the planet happens.
But I can get why somebody would be mad about that, for sure.
I can see that. That's a fair.
But to me, this last talking point is this is what I feel like is the biggest issue with Doc Martens, and that is counterfeits. There are so many counterfeit Doc Martens out there. I mean, I've seen them on Amazon before, all over eBay, obviously like Alibaba and a whole bunch of other sites. And I feel like a lot of people are knowingly or unknowingly getting counterfeit Doc Martens, and these counterfeit Doc Martens are failing, and that's when the issues really come in.
Yeah, giving them the bad taste in the mouth about the brand, and there goes the
ball rolling. Yeah, there goes that. Because like a lot of people are like, oh man, this split. Like, I have shown these shoes no mercy for 9 years.
No, that's not no mercy. He abused them. That's not the no mercy.
So when I read those comments, I'm so confused. Like, what did y'all do to y'all boots? Because did you do any maintenance to your boots? No, almost none. Like, literally, I think one time I put some shoe polish on them.
Okay, so there's that. Like, I wore these in the rain and the snow and the farm, through the woods and everything. Zero. Not one time I put anything on these shoes.
And my feet have never even got wet. And
no.
All right, we're going to interrupt your video for a water test real quick with my Doc Marten 1460s. They are roughly like almost 8 years old. They're not advertised to be water resistant or waterproof or anything like that, but I figured I would give it a little bit of a test. I'm not going to go too deep. I'm just going to go a little bit in, see what happens, and then I have some backup shoes just in case my feet get soaked. I'm curious what's going to happen. I have no clue. They're probably going to leak, but let's see what happens anyway. Wish me luck, y'all. See what happens. Don't really want to go much deeper than this. So far, no leak. Whoa. I don't see any air bubbles, so that's a good sign. If you don't see air bubbles, that means that you're probably not getting a leak. Leather's definitely getting cold. Well, I think that's a win. They didn't leak. I'm really shocked. Well, that was
a huge success. It went way better than I thought. I thought for sure these boots were going to leak. I'm 100% shocked. I think my wife is shocked as well that they didn't leak. And these boots are not treated. I haven't put any like waterproofing stuff on them. I haven't done anything besides maybe one time I put the little coloring stuff on it. I forget what it's called, the little scuff remover stuff. And that was a while back. And yeah, 8-year-old boots did not leak. I cannot believe it. But you wouldn't want to go too deep and you wouldn't want to stay in there too long. That's for certain, because my feet are kind of cold, but that's because the leather is absorbing the water. But actually, it's kind of back dry now. Let me show you real quick. That's crazy. That's what this one looks like. This one took on more water than this one. I think these boots came from different factories. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program.
I'm not saying that these are waterproof, but they are highly water resistant.
Yeah, they're water resistant. Exactly.
Even with no light care or taking care of it. And the only thing I can say that's wrong with mine after all these years is this toe cap right here. Whatever particle board or like structured leather or whatever's under there has, you know, kind of lost its rigidity versus this one is still kind of rigid. But,
I see. It's like a broken in. Or...
You know what I think happened? I think when I was at work, I used to stuff my foot under the foot of my roller tree or the table. Yeah, and I think that's what eventually broke that and messed that spot up. But other than that, there's literally nothing else wrong with these boots after almost a decade of hard use. So we love Doc Martens, but let's talk about some of the other options that people bring up when we talk when you see these Doc Marten videos and you hear Doc Marten reviews. So we're gonna start off with Thursday Boot Company. Now, as y'all all know, I ordered a pair of Thursday boots and I had very high expectations for them, and they were pretty. I won't say really trash, but I'm going to say if you call Doc Martens trash, then I don't know what you call Thursday boots, because they ain't even up to Doc Martens specs in my opinion. So
yeah, I wouldn't call them trash, but I definitely had higher expectations for the boot.
Much higher, especially for the price.
For the price, in as much as they promoting it, in how people actually, the reviews of these boots, I really thought they're going to be better. I think they were a nice looking boot, but I do think they were missing some of the features that the proper boot in that price range should have.
Absolutely. Another boot that I tried, because obviously I'm looking for something to eventually replace these, was a Rain's boot. They call it the fall winter boot, but that's more of a fashions boot. I just got it to try. It looked really good, but it had the same issue that I had with the Thursday boot, where there was literally no gusseting and the tongue attached way down here, which is a problem because, like I said in my other video, debris and water can get in. And another problem that I didn't even think about until today when I had a comment on that video is that the tongue does not stay centered when there's no gusseting. So you have that issue where the tongue flips and goes this way and that way.
That's a very good point.
Which is extremely annoying, especially when you have a tall boot with a long tongue.
And I tell you that we live in a climate that we don't experience really like massive downpours that we have to walk in or snowstorms. But if you are living a little bit more up north, you're not going to want that stuff to be twisting around, you know what I mean? And you do want to gusset, because I'm telling you, I lived in the country for over 20 years with the proper winters, and you want to make sure your feet are dry when you're out and about, because nothing is more annoying than to be wet
feet. All right, so Red Wing Iron Rangers. Great boot. Super uncomfortable and really depends on your style. I actually had 2 pair of Red Wing Iron Rangers. I like them. I like Red Wing Iron Rangers so much. I tried it twice and I could never get those things to be comfortable no matter how long I used them. And I ended up selling both of them after buying them brand new and trying to break them in. And then you still see all these comments about, oh, the Iron Rangers are the best and they're the most comfortable shoes I ever had. And I asked myself, like, well, what were you wearing before Iron Rangers? Cinder blocks?
Well, I mean, but you also, you kind of, let me play the devil's advocate. Everybody have different feet, right?
That's true.
So something that might be good for us might fit everybody else. So it's the other way around. Who knows? I did think the Iron Rangers look really, really cool. I loved the way they looked. But yes, that was a interesting experiment twice.
Yeah.
And they
then-
were not cheap either.
Yeah, they're not cheap. Oh man, they're not cheap. I forgot about the price. Like, I mean, for the price of an Iron Ranger, you can get 4 of these darn near. So there's also that. And that also goes to say with the Thursday boot and the Reigns boot. The Thursday boot was almost $300. The Reigns boot was $300. Iron Rangers are closer to 4 something. So really expensive boots. But now we're about to get into super expensive boots. And we're going to talk about Nicks and Whites. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Nicks and Whites, but they both make handmade boots, bespoke for customers. And you can also get their kind of what you would call commercial off-the-shelf offerings. But these boots are like the creme de la creme of...
So these are custom made, you said?
They're custom made boots.
Okay.
They're custom made boots, and they're typically for like firefighters and stuff like that. But they make a wide gamut of boots. But the main problem that I found with their boots, in my personal opinion, not to knock these companies, I've never tried these boots, but the process of buying these boots, you have to wait 12 to 16 weeks after you send your measurements in for them to, make the boot. And from what I saw from all the reviews that I watched on YouTube, a lot of people said that they would get the boot, they would try it on, they would have hot spots, they would have places where it would be uncomfortable, they would have to send the boot back to Whites or Nicks, and then they would have to kind of like, massage the boot a little bit and make it a little bit more comfortable, and then they would get the boot back, and then they would try it again, and then they would go through that process 2 to 3 times before the boot would really be honed in. And the end result can be a really, really good custom-made boot for you that can literally last you the rest of your life. But the amount that you have to invest to get that boot, in the end, is it really worth it? Because you're spending $500 to $600 on a boot. You're waiting 16 weeks lead time to get the boot. You try it on, you wear it, you send it back another 4 or 5 weeks, you do it, and then you do it again. It's like by that point, you've invested so much in the boots. Now, if you're a person that's my age or older, yeah, you might wear those boots for the rest of your life. But you're in your 20s and you spend $500 on a custom pair of boots.
They have to wear something while you wait for them to be done.
Right. But my question is, are you really going to wear those boots for the rest of your life? Because your style's going to change. You're 20 years old.
Yeah, I mean, your style going to change. Who knows what's going to happen, but... Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I guess if I have a proper other boots that I can wear, because that's what I'm saying, that's going to be your other investment. While you wait for those boots to be made and tweaked several times, you still have to wear something.
You got to wear something.
Meanwhile, so that's still
some
more
expensive
money.
Red Wings or something. Who knows?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's a good option for people who are okay with waiting and that's what they want.
But then my other issue with those boots is that I feel like those boots are a bit too on the extreme end of things, and they don't really have the versatility that I tend to find in the Doc Martens.
I think in our situation, I would really have to have a good reason to go that route.
Right. So then that brings us to the last company that I checked out, which is Solavere. Now, as all y'all know, if you're watching this video, I'm sure you 100% know that Solavere was not the original, or maybe they were the original manufacturer of Doc Martens boots for a very, very long time. Don't really know how long, but I'm going to put it right here or something. And a lot of people say that Solavere Solavere is the real Doc Marten these days, because Doc Marten went through everything that it went through. Now, so I went to the Solavere website, checked out their stuff. I got really excited initially because they have boots that are very similar to the 1460 and the 1490 and those derby shoes that I got from Doc Martens that I sold 3 times because they hurt my feet so bad.
They look so good on him, but yeah, that was
great shoes, but never could get them right. And those were Doc Martens. But on the Solavere site, they have a lot of shoes that have that same look and that same style, because I really, really like this style of boot a lot. Regardless if they have yellow stitching or not. I love the derby boot. It is, like, to me, fantastic. So yeah, so I'm looking through their website and I realized, number one, they have half sizes, which is awesome.
Great.
One thing about Doc Martens I can't stand is that they don't have half sizes. And they have, number two, they have a lot more styles. Not maybe a lot more, but they have a lot more. I kind of like the way that they have their styles. Like they have like the astronaut boot that's a little bit sleeker.
Yeah, I love that astronaut boot.
They have the ones that look like the 1460s. They have what they call grip tight boots. They have like the big chunky combat, or not combat, but commando like grip soles. And they have a lot of really cool offerings on their site. But then I started doing more research and typed Solavere issues. And literally the same issues that people have with Doc Martens, people have with Solavere. The same issues with the sides cracking and the heels cracking and the this and the that. So then I feel like my whole journey of trying to find the next perfect boot for myself really came full circle into a dead stop right back to Doc Martens.
It's hard. I really do think it's hard to beat Doc Martens.
And it's red. Like I said, one of the things that I look for in items that I purchase is something that is readily available. If something's readily available, that means that if something happens, if you lose it on an airplane or on a trip or whatever happens, it burns in a house fire, you can replace it. With a bespoke boot, it's not that easy to replace, you know?
That is true. And I also like the price point of
the
these.
price point. And then this thing these have lasted me almost a decade. Like probably in a few months, it will be a decade.
Yeah.
And it's like for $150-ish that I paid back in who knows when, this boot is still going strong. Like, how can I be mad at that? How can the internet be mad at that?
I don't know. I guess I would speak for us. We never had any issues with none of our boots. They wear well. They look good. They easy to maintain if you even have to maintain them because I haven't done zero maintenance for mine for those 3 pairs. So the price point, I can't hate them. I really do like Doc Martens, and I do think like it's a great option also for kids because they damn near indestructible.
Absolutely.
For children. You know what I mean? They outgrow them way faster than they actually kill them. And anybody who have children know that everything gets scuffed and stuff. So yeah.
So I guess that's it. We still really don't know why the internet hates Doc Martens so much. And like those other brands that we mentioned, we don't hate those brands. They're just for various reasons, not our cup of tea. But I feel like this is more of a thing about pick your poison versus something is empirically right or wrong. And I don't think that you can say anything is really trash or anything is really gold when it comes to this whole shoe thing, because they all have their pros and cons.
Yeah, I was going to say also, if you guys had your own personal issues with docs, comment.
Yeah.
Let us know what you actually have. Yeah, like send us pictures because we've been wearing these for so long and haven't experienced any issues, it's really kind of weird to read about the issues that people experience. And I guess that's a counterfeit part and all this other stuff.
Maybe we got lucky. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just would be interested to see what you guys have to say.
All right, y'all. We're out of here. KRT LYFE. Peace.